How you doing? Welcome back. Today I want to talk about how to make stopping drinking so much easier. Easier is a subjective thing, right? Let's get that out of the way first. It depends on what you think about easier. Certain parts of this you're going to find easier than others. Certain parts of it other people are going to find easier than you. There's certain things that will happen after you stop drinking alcohol, and that's going to be defined by what you define easy as. Okay, so we're talking about discomfort here. We're talking about breaking habits and ultimately transforming into a person for whom alcohol is not a problem anymore. Alcohol is not even in the thought process anytime. And I'm not saying that this will happen and you get to a stage where you're where alcohol doesn't actually enter your mind. I mean, sometimes you'll get these brain farts every so often, but it will disappear as quickly as it entered, and it sort of becomes a joke, sort of a thing for you, personal in joke. So we're going to talk first of all about the inner game. I'll show you where we are. We're down again on the coast near where I used to live. It's a very stormy day today, so hence still in the van, and thought I'd do the videos from here. But the inner game is basically whether or not you're gonna it's a fight or flight thing, whether or not you're gonna fight yourself, whether you're gonna run away from the things that happen to you, or if you're going to take a lot of this stuff onto the chin. Like I said, a lot of this is about discomfort. A lot of it is about just getting through and breaking the habit. Ultimately, as I said, transforming into the person that you want to be, living the life that you want to live. You can run away from this, or you can fight. You can stand and fight at every juncture. And that's sometimes what you have to do, and you have to accept that about it. That it is going to be a fight. One of the biggest difficulties that you will find in this is getting away from the instant gratification mentality, that pressure towards moving back to that instant gratification. And that's a big fight, because I can only ever talk about myself in this journey. I mean, I've coached a lot of people now, and with a lot of people there's always differences in the way that people approach these problems, approach the afterlife, if you like, of stopping drinking. And you have to look at it like it is two different people that you have to change into a different person. You cannot go into the second part of this journey, stop drinking alcohol, and try and be the same individual. You've got to allow certain parts of your old life to die. And you've got to understand that discomfort in all its forms is the thing that people will fear, but that there is nothing to fear in that. It's discomfort. Everything that happens afterwards is discomfort. There's very, very few people who are at physical risk in this journey, and that's just the fact. Now, stopping drinking alcohol is simple if you take it from that perspective. It's breaking the habit that is the most difficult part of this. There's always going to be work involved in trying to build the life that you want to live afterwards, and that's where everything happens. People get confused with stopping drinking, and they think that stopping drinking alcohol lasts, that this is what it's all about, and it's not. Once you stop the drinking, then the work starts. Then you have to, there's so much of this is involved in thinking, in sitting down and thinking and understanding where you need to go. What is the next step? What is the next step? Right, there's a period where you have to get through the discomfort. There's a period where you have to adjust. I'm always talking about it from the perspective of we've got a coping phase within the program, right? So the first 30 days, 60 days is just coping with life, coping with that day-to-day iteration of getting past that, getting used to your new self, or getting used to the living that life without alcohol. Then there's an acclimatization phase, which is basically you're acclimatizing to your new self. It's like, think about if you were trying to climb a high mountain, Everest for instance. You've got to take it in stages. You've got to get up to a certain level, and you've got to acclimatize your body to that level, and then move up another stage and acclimatize to that. This acclimatization takes a bit longer because there's so many different aspects to it. There's so many different areas where you need to get used to living that life without falling back onto that instant gratification. So that takes a lot of stuff, and there's habit breaking. There's breaking down the old habit. Refusing to go back to the old habit is one of the fastest ways of doing this, right? It's the only way of doing it. Then there's habit creation, and the habit creation depends on where you want to go. What habits you create now depend on where you want to go, and it's going to be a hit and miss in the beginning. It's just not something that happens overnight. Habits themselves take a long time to develop, but developing habits is the only way to really to get as quickly as you can to the next level, because the more you habitualize things, the more time free you've got to think about other ways and other areas of doing things. So and that the habits that you defend, where you want to go, depends on your needs as a person, depends on your values, it depends on who you are, it depends on who you want to become, it depends on what you see now as being the best possible version of yourself and the best possible version of the life that you want to go. So there's a lot of different thinking in order to get past yourself, and that's what it's all about, is getting past that stop drinking alcohol first, getting over that and understanding, well, there's only one way of moving forwards with this, and that's to continue to stop drinking alcohol, to continue not to put the alcohol into your mouth. And the only way to do that is to change your relationship with alcohol, but change your relationship with yourself. And I know it doesn't make sense on a certain degree. You'll get this in 6 months. Once you've stopped drinking alcohol, once you've gone through a lot of the stuff that we're trying to teach, you'll understand this a lot more. But at an early stage, it's very difficult to see outside of that, because I understand. I mean, it's for me. It's when I look back on how far I've come. Sometimes it's difficult for me to go back to that early period, the first month or two after I'd stopped drinking alcohol. I mean, I can see, I remember certain amounts of it, but I definitely understand why I stopped, and it's not very difficult to go back to the hangovers or waking up during the night thinking I was going to have a fucking heart attack. That's not difficult. It's not difficult to see the relationships, the relationship breakdowns that I was going through. It's not difficult to see the way my life was going financially, the way it was going from an educational perspective. And I always saw myself as being a lifelong, not an educator, but as a person who wanted to be educated. Learning was a lifestyle for me. I always saw myself as that, but alcohol was always the thing that stopped me from doing that, from progressing. One step forwards, 2 steps back. So, if you don't know how to do this, learn, and learn quickly, because time is not on your side. How much do you want to put into this journey? How much do you think your life is worth? And it's a pointed question, because from the perspective of stopping drinking, and the perspective of being in that painful situation that I was in, and that everybody that I know has been in. Some of my coaching clients, it's wonderful. One of the best parts of this journey is to see the change, the rapid change that people go through in 3 months or 4 months or 5 months. The way they go through the changes, and they see you see them emotionally changing. That's the best thing. It's easy to excuse not enough effort, and I mean by that our brains are wired for laziness. They're wired to take the easy route They're wired to take the most secure route. They're wired for habits, and they're wired. That the habit of alcohol is not it doesn't care. It's not structured from a moral point of view. It doesn't care what your morals are, why you're doing this. It just cares that you are doing it. Your body understands that the alcohol is a poison, but your habits don't. Do you know what I mean? Because your mind has got used to a certain way of acting and behaving. I always think about this from the perspective of your body understands that this, or your mind understands that your body is in a situation where this stuff is happening, where the alcohol is continuously being poured into your body, and your mind has to figure out, or your body has to figure out how to deal with the situation that it's in. I hope you follow that, because it's an important, I think, distinction. It's like if you live in a city which is full of smog, and your body understands that it's taking in this smog into its system, and it will try to adapt as best it can to that environment. And it really is a testament to the human survivability, or to animal survivability, that the body will do whatever it can to survive. And it takes a long time after, I think, it takes a while before your body understands that there is no more alcohol going to be put into your body. So anyway, how long does it take? It takes as long as it takes. There's no shortcuts allowed. That's what got you into trouble in the first place, this instant gratification thinking. You've got to put your mind to work, put your body to work, and do that consistently. And if you do that consistently, do it in the right way, you'll get the reward. You'll get the rewards, because it is a plural thing. You'll get out of this journey what you put into it. That's basically it. If you want to take our course, it's free over on Habits V2. There's a link down below to the quick start preparation. It really is a course to try and help you really get started, just to prepare your mind, to get your mindsets in the right place, to try and get your thinking in the right, started out in a certain way of thinking. Like I say, we start out with just coping, and if you can step across that line to stop drinking alcohol and have some confidence in yourself that you can do this, have a bit of courage that you can step across and do this, then it's the best thing for you. You'll do it with a lot more with a lot more freedom, I think. But in general, you will get out of this journey exactly what you put into it. The rewards that are extracted from it are immediately correlated to the efforts that you put into it. So you have to think long and hard about what's going to happen after you stop drinking alcohol, as well as the fact that you are going to stop drinking alcohol, and then move forwards. Listen, we've got another video. If you want to watch this one, it's up here. It's called Being Afraid of Being Left Out, what to do in that sense. And I think this is one of those videos that I've done which I think it strikes a big fear in a lot of people. We're a social animal, and just to have that fear of being ostracized by your friends, even if your friends are all drinkers, that's a difficult thing to do. It was a difficult thing for me to do, and it tends to be on people's minds. They don't want to be looked at like they're odd in any way. In reality, people who are drinking should be looked at as they're odd, pouring a poison into their minds so they can dumbify themselves. I mean, what a stupid thing to do. But yeah, I did it for over 30 years, so I can't complain about it. I'm going to leave it there for today. Take care of yourself, and I will speak to you again in the next video. Onwards and upwards. Bye now.